what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dirtnation Off-Road. So today we're going to be doing a much needed upgrade to our crawler Winchers. Now, we haven't really done much to this truck since we did the straight axle swap about 6 or 7 months ago. We've been using it, we've been abusing it, and since then, I mean, the only thing that we've really done is we did do the 63 leaf spring swap, which was a huge upgrade, but the video we recorded for that wasn't really YouTube friendly. So we did post it on Patreon if you guys want to check out Patreon. But besides that, today what we're going to be doing is working on upgrading our steering, because after 6 months of some pretty gnarly, hardcore, hardline use and abuse, it is time to upgrade this steering because I'm already starting to get death wobble a little bit. The ball joints are wearing out, and I want to do is just get ahead of this. So I actually found a kit from Ruff Stuff that we're going to be installing today, and it's going to be full Heim steering, and it's going to be some thicker shafts for your drag link and your steering link. I forgot what that cross one's called, but we got some nice things to install today. So I'm going to show you what we have, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then we'll go from there. So here's the current steering setup for Winchers. So when you do the SAS from Trail Gear, they actually give you, I think it's FJ80 steering, which is like the strong Toyota steering. It's not bad, it's definitely good, but because it's a ball joint setup, it's doomed to fail, especially with huge tires such as 37s, you know, 13 and a half 37s, by the way. These are really big tires. So big tires, lockers, and a lot of hard lines is gonna be, you know, really strenuous on this ball joint setup. So the whole point is to eliminate these ball joints as well as thicken up these drag links and just get everything a lot stronger. So here's the kit that I have here. So this is 7/8 Heim steering, and the kit that I got was from Ruff Stuff. Now you can pick up Heims and kind of get all this stuff yourself on your own, buy it individually from places, or you can buy the full kit. It just depends on what you want to do. As long as you know exactly what you need and the measurements and everything like that, you can do this yourself. I kind of bought a semi-complete kit, and then I had to buy some other things to complete it. So the kit that I got was, I got the Heims, I got the, I think those are called the misalignments, and then it came with the jam nut, or the alignment nuts that go right there, and then it also came with, we call these bungs. So this is what gets welded on the end of the tubing, and that has the threading on the inside so that you can thread in your Heims right there. So the things that I had to go and pick up is I had to pick up the tubing, which I ended up picking up some tubing from Solo Motorsports. Now I picked up some heavy duty stuff. This is really thick, 1.5 inch tubing. There's no way I'm breaking this, not with with the lack of power that this truck has, and we'll have to see. I really doubt I'm going to be able to break this stuff, but I also had to pick up some hardware. So this is some 3/4 hardware. I got some really tough stuff with some nylock nuts, and then this over here. Now this is the steering bracket that comes for your steering stabilizer from Trail Gear. Now I'm going to try to modify it a little bit so I can fit around the 1.5 inch tubing. It might not work perfectly. We're going to have to figure that out right now. This setup is fairly simple to install. You're going to need a 3/4 drill bit in order to drill out your steering knuckles. So you'll have to drill out the steering knuckles on each side, as well as the pitman arm. You have to drill out the pitman arm as well. But in all, this should make some very, very strong steering to where 37s, 40s, whatever I'm running, even if I'm running big power, it's going to eliminate this as a weak point. And probably the new weak point is going to be these steering knuckles right here, which is fine because I'm going to upgrade these steering knuckles if they break. Until then, I'm going to use them as is. I mean, you can already see I already got an axle leak, so it is what it is. There's going to be some work to do with that, but for now, we're going to upgrade as we go. So I'm going to get started with taking off these old FJ80 links and ball joints and everything like that, and then we'll get started putting this together. I'll show you how it has to be put together, and then we'll get that installed. First and foremost, we took off the 4 cotter pins for the steering knuckles as well as the pitman arm. And then next we'll have to do these castle nuts. So it's 419s. And then we're gonna do the old beating route in order to separate these ball joints from there. That's the best way you can do it to save the boot. You'll end up beating on this a little bit, but it will work. So the whole point is, you're gonna have to smack it a couple times and then it'll end up separating, but this does have to be loose in order to do that. 5 minutes later, steering is taken out. So you can see Winchers is doing the fingers out pose because there's nothing holding this together right here, which that's fine. That's exactly how you want it. Now down here, let's take a look at the old steering. The ball joints, honestly, not that bad. The only one that's like a little bit off is the one that connected right to the pitman arm. That one has like, I don't know, just a slight amount of play, but honestly that's all it takes to have death wobble. It's just a little bit of play. So this one like barely started to go out, and then I felt it, and that's when I decided to upgrade. So the other 4 are just fine, and honestly this one isn't even that bad. It's just like a teensy bit of play, but it's just enough to bother me. So up next, we're gonna work on drilling the steering knuckle out, as well as the steering knuckle on that side, as well as the pitman arm. So I went and picked up, we're supposed to do 3/4 holes, so 3/4 for these bolts right here. I picked up an 11/16 drill bit, and then I borrowed a 3/4 reamer, so it's like a full-blown smooth hole, because if you do it with this, it'll jump around a little bit. It won't be a perfect hole, so that's why you drill one size smaller, then use the 3/4 to ream it out so it's nice and perfect. I'm also gonna use a little bit of oil, put it on there just so it doesn't jump around too much and it doesn't get too hot, and it'll just be a little bit smoother drilling through right there. Let's get started. Anyways, it's gonna be a lot of that. Enjoy. I think we did it. Should be perfect. Oof. There it is. Victory. So I gotta do that for 3 other sides. Now that took about, I don't know, it took a couple minutes. Has some wiggle, but it fits in there perfectly. That'll be just fine. Okay, side 1 is done. Those are both drilled out. Now it does make a big mess, so just keep that in mind. You're gonna see metal shavings pretty much everywhere. So this one's done, it's drilled out. The last one is this pitman arm. Now the problem is because it has a bit of an angle to it, it's really hard to get the drill on there straight. I don't want to drill through it like kind of sideways or diagonally, so I'm gonna go ahead and just remove the pitman arm. So I went ahead and rented this tool from O'Reilly's. It's right here. It's pretty easy to use, pitman arm puller. You just make sure that it's clamped up right here, and then I use a gold Sharpie to mark where it is on the spline so that I can match it right back up here when I put it back on. And then what you'll do is you have to take a 3/4 or a 19, and you just go ahead and tighten this until that pitman arm comes right off. So you can already see it slipping off. There it is, see? And it's off. Very good.
2,000 years later.
That one took a minute, I'm not gonna lie. Just because it was a loose piece, and it's, you know, without a clamp, it's kind of hard to hold it down. But I did get it bored out, so it's all good to go. The 3/4 will fit. Now we're gonna start putting the steering back together with all of our heims and everything like that, and we'll go through the steps that you need to do. But first I gotta put this pitman arm back on. I'm just gonna line it up with my gold Sharpie right there, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so up first, I'm gonna start with the longer section, which is gonna connect to the knuckle to the other knuckle. I'm using, as a reference, I'm using the stock one because my alignment was decent, although I didn't technically have it aligned, but it did work. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab our piece, and I'm gonna just line it up against this one. And it is a little bit shorter, and that's just because the heims are longer. So we're gonna start preparing the heims themselves. So you're gonna grab one left hand one and one right hand one. So we're gonna grab our jam nut, and we're gonna go ahead and slide those. Now those are left and right hand sided because they want to thread onto these. Now the good thing is it's hard to screw these up because they do have specific threads. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if this is the correct one for this side. No. That one's gonna start threading in. So I'm gonna thread it in about halfway. You do want to leave some of your threads exposed, and the reason for that is, you know, for alignment purposes, because you're gonna have to adjust this. So even though I'm gonna try and get this as close as possible, I'm still gonna need an alignment, but I want it as close as possible so that it's a little easier. Now for you guys that are like really into this, you know, alignment shit, I know that there's tape measures and stuff you could do to do alignments. I haven't taken the time to learn that, so at this point I'm just gonna eyeball it. Okay, so that's what you need right there. And then for your misalignments. Now, it's going to be different on each one. You're going to have two of the cone size ones, okay? The cone size ones are going to go on your drag link, which goes to your steering box. So I'm going to set those to the side, and then you're going to see two others that are different from the others. It's kind of a small cone design as opposed to this, as opposed to this flattish one. So you see the longer cone design? That's going to be the other two that go on the jam nut, or sorry, that go on the drag link. And you're going to have four just like these that are all exactly the same. This is the ones that are going to go on the steering. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just slide that in there. They're going to go on there like that. Stick it through the top. And then this will go on the bottom side of that. And then this will go into the top part of that knuckle, so you can't miss it on this side. So I'll just go ahead and set it into place so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So that's how one side's going to look with the nut on the bottom, obviously. And then on this side, we're going to go ahead and hook this up to the back one, because the front one will come up here to the drag link, or to the pitman arm. My terminology sucks, I apologize. This one, I'm just going to put the nut on the bottom, because this one is set up exactly how we want it. That's good to go. So top piece, and then nut, and then where's our bottom piece? So our bottom piece is right there. So let me set the camera down. I'll show you guys exactly what I'm going to be doing. Your bottom piece for your Heim right there. Bring this tire in. Drop it in the hole. Bam. So now this side's hooked up. I'm going to leave one side unnutted because this will be probably the adjustment side, because I'm going to adjust it so that the toe is correct, because what controls the toe is this linkage right here. So you're gonna have to shift it back and forth to change that. Up next, we'll do the shorter one, which is the drag link. So the drag link, same deal. You're gonna want to do a jam nut, which I got right here. I got that one screwing on now. Jam nut. So I'm gonna tighten that just a little more. Show a couple threads, jam nut, and then we'll go to the other side. That one's good to go. So next, now we're going to talk about the misalignments. Now, for these misalignments, they're designed a certain way so that in case something happens, let's say the Heim fails, the uniball in here fails, they don't want it to completely come disconnected. So you put this away from the top part or the flat part of the knuckle. So this will always go on top, and then when it comes over here to the pitman arm, it's going to go on the bottom, because you want, if it fails, you want it to flush against this so that your steering doesn't completely disconnect. It'll just get messed up, but you won't like crash or anything. It'll make it a lot safer. Put a bolt through there, and then there it is. So that's going to be like that. You can see right here, this is what I was talking about. So the larger piece is going to go on the top, which is away from this right here, and then that's going to be good to go. All right, alignment's as close as I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna let the alignment shop take care of the rest. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this up, tighten it. Same with that one on this side, and then I'm gonna work on my Mickey Mouse bracket for this. All right, well, fun fact, the steering stabilizer plate that you get from the Trail Gear SAS kit actually works with bigger U-bolts. So I bought some 1.5-inch tubing U-bolts, and they're only slightly bigger than these, but with a little bit of finesse, you just have to kind of give them a little bit of bend. But luckily, because it's thin metal and because they're like low duty ones, you can bend them around a little bit and they do fit in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up and put all this back together, and then that's gonna be one complete install. Let's get it. All right, there it is. It's all bolted together. Steering stabilizer's on. That's good to go. So presumably this is a now finished install. Everything's solid, everything's good. I'm gonna take it for a test drive real quick, see if there's any any major differences with just driving it on the street, and then we're obviously gonna get it aligned, but we'll probably wrap it up today unless there's anything that pops up. I'm gonna get it aligned tomorrow, but if anything changes with that, I'll let you guys know. But from there, after this test drive, we'll get it wrapped up, and then we'll be good to go from there. All right, so test drive is wrapped up. It doesn't drive straight worth of crap, but that's understandable. It does need an alignment, but everything felt solid. It turned correctly, didn't vibrate, it didn't do anything like that. So, and everything is tight. I went over it multiple times, checked the torque and everything like that. But that is it for this install. Check out the link below. I'll link the kits that you can get from Ruff Stuff, so you can do a Heim steering kit on your SAS Toyota pickup or 4Runner. But we are all done here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. You also hit us up for shirts, hats, hoodies, and all those other goodies at dirtnationoffroad@gmail.com. We also got a lot of new stickers. Check those out. Thank you guys. Till next time, let's get it.